GSL Season 1.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. We're ready to go into the other half of the round of 4. We had a delightfully close match between Hero and Cure. Hero definitely had the better late game, knew how to weave and bob through a PDT, and then also knew how to shut down the cheese when Cure basically halfway through that series shifted from going into macro games, instead going into basically like trying to end it right away with a proxy.
Yeah, Hero had a very unique style of approach that entire series. We saw so many things that we don't typically see in the PvT meta out of him.
Yeah.
And given the odds of his opponent being Maru in the grand finals, of course, we still have the next semifinals to be played. I think that bodes very well for Hero. He looked exceptionally good in that best-of-5 series versus Cure. He came through with all these different openings. But now we're going to move on to Maru versus SHIN for the second semifinals. And I say it's likely that Maru is going to be the finalist he goes up against because in the 10-plus years that Maru and SHIN have battled it out, SHIN has not won a series that's gone longer than a best-of-3, or a best-of-3 even. It's 33-0 in Maru's favor, which is
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, like, if we think about it, everybody knows that SHIN is good enough to beat Maru. I mean, SHIN has been at times the best Zerg player in the world. Right now, he's certainly among the best. But there just seems to be something about Maru's play.
Well, I feel like every once in a while you have one player that just absolutely beats another player. I think people that play have also experienced this where there's like one player that you know and you feel like you're close in skill, but you actually never beat this person no matter what you do. They seem to like know what you're going to do. They can counter you. They understand you. They've downloaded you, so to speak. And this is a situation where you have two pro players where I feel like one kind of really understands the other. And so this is a real David versus Goliath match. I mean, if SHIN wins, it's crazy. If Maru wins, it's par for the course.
If SHIN wins, it feels like it's going to be historic. It's like winning a Contest Finals if SHIN finally defeats Maru. It's been like, what, 12 years of them facing off against each other.
Yeah. So we're going to go to an interview now, guys, and then go to our match.
Hi, SHIN. You did really on qualifiers and on the round of 8 as well. So how do you feel about it? Yeah, it was kind of easy, you know. Oh, right. Oh, it was easier than I expected, so yeah. Yeah, it was easy indeed. But right next to you, the opponent right next to you is a mountain. Like, what do you think about it? Well, I feel good. I mean, playing against Maru is that the evidence that I'm doing really great. So yeah. So Solar, you're the same age. So any words? Well, you know, like SHIN. Well, why are you laughing? Well, I want you to laugh after the game as well. So how was the preparations? Are you ready? Well, I did a lot of preparations myself. I think this is the most prepared matchup I have ever. But I don't really feel right because I think I overdid. So I'm thinking that like I'm missing something here. So I'll just try to integrate everything. So yeah. Well, if you try so hard to be perfect, then you kind of like make a mistake. So I understand the pain. So Maru, it's been a really long time. I mean, personally, in 2010, you were the youngest player competing, and now they're saying that the history of Maru is the history of GSL. What do you feel? How can you explain that? Well, I've competed in the open season, from the open season to here, so yeah, I'm still doing great, so that's relieving. Yeah, Ryung, any questions? Well, Maru, you have a lot of, you have very good win rate against SHIN, so you don't really get to prepare a lot against him. So how do you prepare your mindset against them? Well, You know, my mindset actually, I can actually lose against him at any time. So, yeah, I'll trying to not hold back. Well, oh, you're procrastinating him. Like, you're giving too much credit. Like, isn't that a strategy? Well, I mean, he's doing great, so it is a fact. So now we're gonna see the predictions of the viewers. It was 78 versus 22. Well, it feels like Maru isn't really confident against SHIN, like he says, but the predictions are saying otherwise. What do you think? Well, I think it's because of the matchup record, like matchup history. But today, I don't know. You're smiling. Well, you're SHIN, and you're only 20%. Isn't that offensive to you? Yeah, the track record gives me, I mean, that predictions that they're gonna like. I think more viewers would have picked Maru, so I think the predictions would have been like lean towards Maru. But actually, the numbers are more in favor of me. So I think, yeah, that's a relief for me. So I'm gonna be more fun. So any last words? Well, personally, didn't really think that GSL would continue, but I'm really grateful for SOOP for holding this league again this year, and I think it's all because of the fans. So I'm really feeling really grateful, and I didn't really realize that I would come to this stage, honestly. But that being said, I'm thankful for all the fans have cheered and support for us. So I think that's why I'm here. So yeah, I'm really grateful for it. I'll do my best. And any last words, Maru, the living legend? Yeah, a lot of people came here, and I'm really feeling good that I can perform in this crowd. And it's coming offline in a long time. I'll do my best and show really fun games. Yeah, round of applause for both players, and good luck and good games for both.
Thank you very much. Maddox is take a look here at SHIN versus Maru, getting ready to kick off the second semifinal match here at GSL Season 1 in 2026. And as we were saying, heavily favored for Maru, 33-0. And best of 3+ over the history of StarCraft 2. But you know, SHIN has been getting very close tasteless. He's had a couple of series where he's just one map win away from closing things out versus Maru.
Yeah.
He just hasn't gotten there yet.
And the stakes are very high here. I mean, I think if SHIN beats Maru, he absolutely can win this. If you can beat Maru, then you can take on Hero or Cure, no problem. So it might be the biggest hurdle in the entire tournament if he takes it. But he already got this deep. He's played incredibly well this season. I'm very curious how he's going to play this out. You know, a best of 5, you can pull something off in that if you've got a couple of good ideas that the other player can't prepare for. The problem is that Maru is so complete as a Terran package, and really able to do every and any style of play.
Yeah, Maru is truly capable of anything, and whenever I think about SHIN, in any matchup really, he feels like a very mid-game and early-game focused Zerg. Obviously, he can play the late game if he wants to get there. He's actually a big proponent of the fast Ultralisk style in ZBT, which I love to see. But it feels like he always hits his power spikes early on. The problem is that Maru, among all Terran players in the history of StarCraft 2, seems to be the most impervious to getting broken early on. I cannot count the number of games where Maru has lost the majority of SCVs, maybe the natural command center gets lifted off, and it looks like he's down and out, but he barely survives and still wins the game. It feels like a regular occurrence for Maru, especially in the GSL. And so for SHIN, I think one of the big things for him in this best of 5 series is going to be, can he actually close out games where he goes for aggressive plays? Because I guarantee we're going to see a couple of them.
This is going to be so fun. And I think that SHIN does have a shot. We have to be realistic about the history, the matches they had before. But, you know, let's see. Again, Maru, you know, last year was another very strong year for him. Not as strong as, you know, years prior. We've had periods where Maru wins literally every GSL there is. By the way, a guy who always looks very, very relaxed on the biggest stages. He is, you know, very comfortable, very natural in his demeanor. The way he plays doesn't look any different than the round of, 16 or round of 8 or, wherever you find him earlier. And he's done this so many times before. He's been a champion of GSL 8 times. He's been a runner-up 4 times. So this is his 13th time, assuming he wins here. I guess I don't know if we count the round of 4 here. But, if he wins here, it's going to be his 13th time playing in a GSL finals. So this is just another, another StarCraft 2 competition for him. Where for SHIN, this is him trying to achieve a dream. You play StarCraft 2 for as long as someone like SHIN. One of, the things on your bucket list as a pro is to win a GSL. This could be his moment here now, but he is in front of the strongest GSL player in the history of the game.
Yeah, and his personal nemesis, the player that he's lost to every single time they've met. But, SHIN, he's been getting closer and closer in a recent series. He's been getting better and better. This might be the final moment for him to actually unseat Maru's crown here in the GSL. Can SHIN deliver the upset? Game number 1 on Ruby Rock is loading in. Let's kick off this semifinals.
Okay. Top left in the blue here is SHIN. Going for a gas cancel here. A lot of supporters here for SHIN in the audience. And down in the bottom right in the red is Maru.
So good to have a live audience here for the GSL finals.
Onside fan club showing up early today. I saw them packing the seats. Big supporters here. I mean, in a lot of ways, SHIN has been like the player from Korea. And there's been some fierce competition, not just in Korea, in Asia, some great players, some great representation. But I do think it's fair to say Maru kind of at the top.
Oh, for sure.
Of that, It's just a very decorated player. By the way, 2 racks in the main.
Yeah, interesting. Reminds me a little bit of the Beyond build that we used to see a lot in StarCraft 2 TBZ. We still see it occasionally with 2 barracks on the low ground, but and this time it's going to be 2 barracks on the high ground here. So this does have the added benefit for SHIN. He's not going to be able to scout this immediately with the Overlord. In fact, the movement pattern of the Reapers through the center of the map might catch him by surprise. But the fact that the both barracks are built in the high ground makes me think that Maru might commit a little more heavily to this than we typically see. Normally when it's Shirax Reapers per Terran, it's just 2 or 3 Reapers and you transition pretty quickly out of it. It's just something to get map control, keep the creep spread under control. Eventually they pair up with Hellions as you transition into the middle game, but with the second barracks kind of hidden in the main base in a funny way, there is potential for Maru to go up to say 4 or 5.
And we got to see how much damage this is going to do. Obviously, this is not as strong as having it like right outside their base, like the proxies we saw Kira doing to Hero. But, it's also a very safe way to play in the fact that, your barracks are back at home. You can immediately go into whatever kind of game you want to go into. It will not be denying the third base, by the way, which is a big thing you want to watch for whenever you see Reapers come out, is can you actually stop that drone from planting that hatchery?
The drone's already thrown it down. Maru's focusing on getting as much damage as possible. Queen just about to pop, so Reaper will have to retreat back to safety here. I'm not sure if SHIN actually got a glimpse of that second Reaper. Oh, he certainly did. It's under the Overlord now, so SHIN should know this is a 2-ranks Reaper opening, and we have a lot more Lings getting started. 6 more. If Maru continues to rally across the map, he might be able to force a cancel still on this expansion, but actually be careful. Reapers get up into the main base, one of them nearly sniped.
Yeah, if you drop a couple Reapers, this whole thing just falls off. You have no way to really control the game. We have seen games where you use the Reapers and you try to, basically deny this base, but Ling's speed's going to come. Now, it depends on how you control this versus Ling's with speed. He is going to come here and do a little bit of damage to that Queen. Bounce himself back. It's like a skateboarding trick there. He's going to just run up into the main. He's going to try to kill drones.
Maru now thinking better of it. Going to go back down to the third base. Circling speed maybe 20 seconds away right now as another round of Lings is finishing. Excuse me.
No, this is a build where you probably know, like, okay, at 3 minutes 45 seconds, I need to be away from here.
It's so many Lings actually, Tasteless. There's no wall into the natural expansion. Hellions will get started at this factory, and if the Reapers get surrounded right now, this could be a very big win for SHIN.
Oh my god!
Oh, I don't think these Reapers are going to be slippery enough. Even with the grenades, every single Reaper except one taken out immediately. This is going to force a liftoff of the natural expansion. Oh, the depot racing just in the nick of time.
Okay, so he kills the Reapers. The thing is, there was no SCVs on the low ground, and he didn't really get a lot else. And you got to remember, all these lings that were made, they're not drones, right? So you can see an engagement like that where the Reapers are killed and think, okay, well, wow, that's pretty good for Zerg, but there wasn't much of a punish. Now with 4 Hellions down here and bottlenecking at the ramp, well, hold on a second, he actually gets a pretty good surround. I thought this wasn't going to go as well as it was.
But no Hellions fall, only 2 SCVs.
And 2 SCVs isn't, is not enough. So kind of a funny interaction here. He did punish the Reapers, but the whole formation of the base, the layout and everything, the tech choices, didn't really allow those lings to go much further than that. And killing 2 SCVs is not great. Maru is getting stim. He is going to go for Banshees. And he's going to basically beeline this Banshee across the map. This is not a build where he goes Cloak, but he is going to go for a Raven right after it. And he'll at least force some Spore Crawlers here.
Got more links going to come into the natural expansion, see if any damage is there to be found, but with the Marines waiting by that mineral line, those things gonna have to scurry back on home. First Banshee's been revealed. Ro.4 getting started now for SHIN. A ton of Overlords too. 6 Overlords get started. There's a little bit of a supply block right now on SHIN's side of things. And is he gonna get the Banshee? He does.
That's too bad, because the Banshee paired with the rest of the army is gonna be really nice. So we're getting 1-1 now here for Terran. He's gonna send this Raven out. Now you basically can use this with the Hellions to just kill creep tumors while still landing mules back at home. You can also go for auto turret. I mean, that's always an option when you have a Raven on their side of the map.
Carapace getting started now by SHIN. Pairs well with the Roaches. Often we'll see SHIN in a Roach mid game with fast Carapace transpose into an infestation pit. Hit a relatively quick ultras. I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing that this game. Feels like economically SHIN has been a little bit slowed down by the Reapers early on and the number of lings that SHIN has needed to make. But pretty soon the action's going to pick up. Maru, the first 2 medevacs are out on the field. Stim is done. Combat Shield is about a quarter of the way done. More barracks are also being completed now. And Maru can actually start getting to work on the creep spread of SHIN.
Yeah, he's going to come right through the middle here. The Raven here to spot. And, Stim's done. 1-1's going to be done as well. This is going to be a pretty sharp timing. It's just the Queens right now to defend. Auto turrets do come down. The counterattack is denied.
This third might fall tasteless. Marines trying to focus fire it down. There's just enough firepower to take out that hatchery. And shit, he's going to counterattack the third base of Maru right now. He's finding a little bit of SCV damage, but I do not think this is parity with the hatchery falling, the critical third hatch of SHIN.
It's very rare to find a moment where it makes sense to just target the hatchery, but I think that was one of them. The Roaches can't really pursue versus Stim Marines. He's actually going to be able to just pick up and get right back out after killing the Queen. What?
Whoa.
Oh, whoa, whoa,
is
whoa.
This MMA? What just happened, man? The third command center is gone.
Yeah, I guess, we didn't even talk about it when it was taking damage. I just assumed it would be lifted off. So an eye for an eye here. Both players losing a base.
Oh, that
knocking
is
this
huge.
game from, it's now 3 base Zerg versus 2 base Terran again. But I think that almost might be worse for Terran. I mean, the question is going to be how much more can Terran push with, because Terran still had a pretty healthy army. Remember that people really weren't trading out too much army on either side here.
Really an uncharacteristic misstep there by Maru.
Basically, you never see that. I mean, I think, it's been years since I've seen, honestly, anything happen like that with Terran in a tournament. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't. To drop a building like that is crazy. All you got to do is lift it off. Goes to show you how chaotic this game really was.
Wild moment there. So now Maru going to have to retake the third expansion. He's scanning to try and spot exactly what SHIN is going for. This could be a moment where SHIN, if he was playing aggressively to tech, might be going for an infestation pit or a high, but actually the layers of the natural expansion. So not too much information gleaned by Maru by scanning the main base.
Both players are going to finish up that lost base here. And Shin's going to max out. So Shin's going to have an opportunity to come here and try to hammer Maru down. And this might be really bad for Maru. I mean, this could be an extremely strong attack. You can see Maru already with some infantry here in the middle of the map.
Yeah, this is a huge moment for Shin. I'm not sure if Maru has enough to actually defend against this. This is a Roach Max with what's going to be 30+ Roaches. There are a ton of Ravagers. Now Shin collapsing on this position from all sides. Bile's going to rain down onto the Siege Tanks. Maru's trying to take the fight that he can win by pulling the SCVs and Marines to isolate the Ravagers on the left side. He takes a favorable trade, but the entire right side of Maru's army is gone.
Yeah, he is going to just cut through this. There's so much here for Zerg. Now, this small army with the Stim Marines is fighting pretty well, but I think that the sheer mammoth size of what Shin has is so scary. He's going to tear down the depots. I think the tanks and the Liberators might make it harder to get through. Obviously, Ravagers can hit Liberators, but that will force them to send Corrosive Biles on the Liberators before the tanks. The tanks are still going to do a lot of damage, as you can see here. Maru's workers and supply have plummeted. So many more Ravagers being made.
Yeah, Shin's trying to win the game right now, and oftentimes when you see Maru survive situations like this one, it's because he's building up to a huge upgrade advantage, but Shin's actually keeping up with the upgrade so well. +2 ground carapace just finished, +2 ranged weapons will be done shortly, and Shin's loading up for another attack. A lot of the units for Maru actually picked up into medevacs to go for the counter, and so he doesn't have a lot to defend. The natural expansion down the Biles, take out the siege tank,
oh
the medevac's low on HP, and Shin takes game one.
Big plays here from Shin. And I gotta say, what a funny looking game. Maru, a little bit of a smile on his face, maybe a little bit of embarrassment for the way that game went down. He basically had what looked like a very winning move. He got the hatchery, then he lost the command center. Now, by the way, it was great that Shin was damaging it, but like the Terran is just supposed to go back and lift off, right? The Lings might have wings on them because of the speed, but they cannot fly and hit down a floating command center. So I would say very much a blunder as far as inputs here for Maru. And, you know, Shin took that game. He took the fact that he had hobbled the economy of Maru. And yes, Shin's economy was hurting too, but that just knocked Shin back to 3 base. 3 base is a lot better than 2 base. And then he was able to wind up with a huge Roach Ravager bust, and there was nothing Maru can do. If Shin can do that just 2 more times, he's moving on into the GSL finals.
All right, set number 2. Old Republic going to be loading in just a moment. Shin off to a great start in this series versus Maru, taking game number 1. Can he keep the momentum going? Can he take map number 2, or will Maru tie things up? Our match is ready. Let's go to Old Republic for map 2.
Okay, Shin here in the top right. I think the Greencasters are doing player intros here, so I'm kind of trying to not rush it. Oh, nope, never mind. Okay, here we are. We're gonna do it.
There's a big
this is a great way to
Shin.
cast. I'm like, I think it's gonna be. Oh no, wait, no. Oh no, it was right. Oh, okay.
I'm still thinking back to the 3rd command center for Maru falling to what I think was just pure Zerglings. And it's unbelievable. It sounds like bad fan fiction of the way this series would go.
Speaking of bad fan fiction.
And then in game 2, he built a proxy hatchery, and Maru was natural, and Maru didn't see it?
Did Marvel write this day of GSL?
I mean, after the game, after series 1 with Hero versus Cure, they might have. Okay, it's a T-Rex opening again for Maru. Shin is going for a proxy hatchery, which I think is mostly designed to slow things down, to delay.
You know, it's funny. Usually you see this placed on the expansion location.
Oh, he's going for a gas and a pool behind this too. Is Shin going to get aggressive with his proxy hatchery? I feel like oftentimes when you see a proxy hatchery like this, it is designed mostly just to slow down the Terran a little bit. But
well, that's what it is when Rogue does it.
With the gas pool, though.
Oh my God, he doesn't see it yet.
Maru still doesn't know.
Maru's like, I'm just such a gamer. There's a mineral here, and I'll mine it for a second. I make a depot. I'm the best player in the world. But okay, there's a proxy hatchery.
3rd hatch being thrown down now.
The Reaper would see this, right?
I think it's very close.
It has to be able to see that, right? Okay, well, it's going
to see the creep.
Okay.
I'm not sure who would actually see that
I
hatchery.
think it would have seen it anyways.
guess we'll never know.
Yeah. It's funny because whenever you watch Maru, a lot of the other players are more emotive, and Maru's not. Like you can't, he just seems to see it and be like, all right, it's this kind of game.
Yeah, Maru is just constantly nonplussed by anything his opponents throw at him in GSL, and I guess it makes sense. I mean, they mentioned this in the interview, the history of Maru. Oh, hold that thought, actually. Marine almost got taken out by those Zerglings. And now the Reaper in the main base of SHIN taking a lot of damage. And a Roach Warren being built. So the natural expansion here for SHIN, I think it might be setting the signal to Maru that this is going to be a more normal game, but we're actually going to be transposing into Roaches from here. SHIN's going to try and get big damage done.
Yeah, this is a very novel cheese compared to what we've cast at GSL and RSL so far. I don't know, man. He's definitely, by the way, conserving larva at the proxy hatch.
He wants to build 3 Roaches, and I think he wants to make 3 Ravagers with those Roaches to start biling down the ramp.
It does seem like Maru's playing this correctly.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so close.
He's got the bunker down at the ramp for the main base of the natural expansion. Actually, 4 Roaches get started.
The idea is the Lings will have speed. They'll get across the map quickly. The Roaches will be spawning from the hatchery. And in builds like this, you basically want the Lings to tank. Now, he's also making Ravagers. Oh! That's insane. Okay, so now the Reapers can't harass. So the Ravagers basically are here to obliterate the bunker.
Another one likely going to get started by SHIN in just a moment. Or he's just going to push up the ramp. There's enough SCVs here that I don't think you can DPS down the bunker. So for now, SHIN's focusing on the SCVs.
Yeah, I mean, he can hit the depots too.
The Ravager fell, didn't it? Oh, this is not the best position right now for SHIN. That one needs to get canceled
he should not have warped that over there.
Oh, if the Overlord falls, this is huge for Maru.
Okay, I think this rush backfired.
Yeah, SHIN's already transitioning out of it. He's adding in a lot more drones. I think there might have been more potential of this had SHIN executed a little bit differently.
100%.
In a perfect world, you try and get 2 or 3 Ravagers out, and you try and focus fire down at least one of the depots to get the Lings in, but...
The thing is, he actually placed everything perfectly. Like, the bunker doesn't give the Lings a lot of surface area. He still has control of this low ground area. You got to be really careful as Terrans. Sometimes Terrans will lose games where they're in a position like this, and they go down the ramp a little bit too soon, and they lose the tanks. The problem is that the Overlord's gone, so you can't spot on the high ground and then have the Raptors run up and file this.
SHIN's going to do his best to just slow things down here for Maru. The later that Maru takes the natural expansion, the better this is going to be for SHIN, who's trying to macro out of this back at home.
Yeah, it's still hard for Terran. Make no mistake. The problem is that Zerg's getting their 3rd base up late, and the only caveat with that is that Terran doesn't have a 2nd base landed yet. So he scans here and sees the drones are saturated. Knows 3rd base is going to be an inevitability. There is a possibility for like a push as you take the expansion, by the way. Zerg really doesn't have a lot.
I think SHIN might be a little bit too focused on droning right now to easily match Maru's army. We'll see if SHIN is going to switch gears. Just that Quinn making the walk of shame all the way back home now. It's a long way for this Queen to go.
It's always painful if you're in a tournament and you have one of these kind of like post-failed rush games where you're like, well, I'm not dead, but this is not the result we were going for. Maru's going to very carefully. I love this. Look at that. He's got the creep spread on the periphery so that you have to scan.
There's one more tumor in the front that's spreading, actually.
That doesn't block it, though, right? I think he can land.
It doesn't block it, but it's still one more scan that he's going to force out of Maru.
Yeah. No Raven here. So he just now starts that. This is a 6-minute and 25-second expansion setup here. It's as the layer's done. And Maru is not going to push. He's going to leave the tanks, all kind of covering each other here. And then fly out with the double medevac here. Stim is done. He's going to keep powering up here back at home. And what does SHIN have exactly? He's got Roaches, Ravagers. He certainly has Lings too. Probably enough to try to fight this. But maybe Maru can poke this base out.
Oh, for sure. Roach speed not done just yet. Maru has enough DPS to take out this hatchery.
What is with this series? It's just like countless, denials of bases. He's going to run up here. He can take this Roach out and probably maybe 1 or 2 more before he has to leave.
Yeah, it's real difficult as Zerg with the Roaches to deal with drops like this until Roach speed is done because the lane count is so low it cannot contest the Marines.
Right.
The rest of Shin's army is just so immobile. Maru's going to try and land back down here at the third base, but luckily Shin is covering it, so he should be able to expand. And oh, this is a cute move. Queen actually spreading some creep. Unfortunately, I think that Maru's going to catch this, but I love the idea by Shin. It's a very clever tactic.
Man, I mean, Maru's playing a really clean game here. He's just getting win after win. Another Medivacs out. Combat shield's almost done with +1 range attack here for Terran. I guess everything Terran has is range, so just +1 attack, but you know what I'm saying. And we're waiting for that third base to get done. It was denied right before it could finish. So it's about to finish again here. Again, these victories on the map here, Maru just like killing off so much. And, you know, you're fine dropping a Marine or 2 to trade this out.
You really see the difference that +1 infantry weapons makes with this. And wow, that's a lot of reinforcing units here for Maru.
Now, if the corrosive bios of the tanks perfectly and there's maybe enough Lings and Roaches, maybe this is going to work. But Maru's going to be probably pretty smart about how he spreads his tanks out.
Maru already staggering them quite a bit. So he gets ready to push into the third base of Shin. Marines trying to zone away the Biles. 3 Biles do connect with one of the siege tanks, so it will get taken out, but there's a lot more tanks that came from, and they're going to slowly encroach on this natural expansion. And Ranger the Hatchery puts a little bit of a timer right now onto Shin. Shin needs to get the Terran army out of here, and there aren't too many Marines to support, but there are so many siege tanks on the flank.
Yeah, the problem is the tank damage is going to accumulate. The whole job of the Marines is to basically stay in the front and kind of fish this army forward, and then the tanks do the damage. And the Ravagers can only pick the tanks up if they get close enough. The problem is corrosive biles actually take a while to even land. So tanks are doing damage in the meantime. And you know what? He did it. He actually did a great job. 2 tanks are going to be picked up, but he holds that push off. That's crazy, because that was a lot of Marines that were picked off. Some of the tanks were wiped. Now I'm wondering, is there going to be an opportunity for a counterattack with Roach, Ravager, Ling? Kind of like what we saw in Game 1.
There could be, but I think if Shin went for it, he would put himself in basically an all-in position because he cut drones so heavily just to survive that push out from Maru that Maru actually has a worker lead right now over Shin. And so for Shin, you have to walk a very fine line. If you pull a trigger and try and go for a push like that one, you need to be certain that it has a chance of knocking Maru out of the game, because otherwise you're not going to be able to transition out of it. And so Shin is instead throwing down the infestation pit. I think this is likely going to be for a Hive in Ultralisks. He loves the transition from Roaches into Ultras in TBZ, but I feel like there just isn't enough economy behind it to really make it work.
Get enough Roaches down here on the ground that it's pretty hard to take any fights. The 4th base is up, by the way, at 12 o'clock. Not any drones really mining from that just yet. And army supplies right now, I mean, it says Shin has more, and that's true in the supply counter, but Roach Ravager takes up more supply. So, you know, a lot of times you see games where there's like way higher supply for Zerg and Terran can still hang on. So I think Maru's kind of like tempo-wise a little bit ahead.
The army supply might be in Shin's advantage, but I guarantee you that Maru's army is more valuable than Shin's right now for a look at the army value tab, because it's just siege tanks, Medivacs, and Marines right now. With a lot of upgrades, too. He's been pumping with 2 engineering bays for a while, even adding in an armory to get +2 infantry weapons, +2 infantry armor started up, as well as vehicle weapons. So Maru really just fleshing out all the upgrades back at home, whereas Shin is just trying to put out all the little fires that Maru's starting with these medevac drops.
Okay, infestors are out. I think he wants to try to go for a fight. And maybe he's going to get that fight that he wants, because the Terran push is coming out. He could, well, he's going to counterattack. I was going to say he could try to sandwich this too, but this makes a lot of sense. There's nothing over here. Terran literally has to walk back the long way. It's pretty nice. It's pretty good by Shin. He's still got plenty. He can counterattack it again. The problem is that Maru's got a really scary army here.
Maru's got a scary army, but Shin hasn't stopped producing units for quite a while right now. It's mostly been Roaches and Infestors reinforcing.
He's been powering the whole time. Both sides have been.
Shin only on 65 drone. Maru once more going to try and siege up the third base. And watch that mini-map for the Ling counterattack. If Shin can get a surround on this army. If he can take out the siege tanks right at the beginning, could be a big win. The fungal is huge there for Shin, catching all the bio. Once more, the fungal is massive. And that's going to be the cue for the Lynx to come in. And Shin will clean up this army at his front door.
Okay, now can he go all the way across the map?
I think you wait. I think you wait as Shin. The Ultralisk Cavern is halfway done.
You're right,
Shin,
right.
He has started banking some money, but I think in a minute, with the momentum of that victory, and he gets a couple of Ultras on the map, there might be a window for Shin to try and get some damage done.
So the final tech is here. Now the Ultras basically allow you to break open a position, especially if you have that chitinous plating. Another little counterattack. Again, Maru's very, very spread thin here. You know, and he's got to be careful. You know, every time he gets close to the ground, you know, he gets surrounded. Terran is, it looks like he's going to be split pushing here. He's got a small force moving on the far left side of the map.
Oh, fungal connecting.
Oh my God, you got to be careful.
It's really hard to land the bios on those.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard that if it ever actually lands, I'll lose my mind because it basically never happens. Shin has played a really tight game. And I got to say, you know, Maru's had 2 failed push-outs. Vehicle weapons level 2 is going to be done here. But the chitinous plating is done, right?
Oh, I think it should be. Fungal's going to catch the bio, but they did take down one of the only Vipers on the map. Ultras are here.
So this is where you're going to try to swing the game as Shin. You're going to try to just trample this entire position. You need the Banes, you need the Ultras, you need everything. And if you can do it, we would go into game number 3 here with Shin having a 2-0 lead. Unprecedented advantage right now. So Maru's going to try to back up. He has to get his tanks back home. He has to try to reconfigure. Medivacs are not healing right now as they're en route back home.
Viper falls again. Shin's gearing up to push into this planetary fortress. It's good service area right now. The Lynx on the south side. The Ultra's going to connect with the planetary. There's a little bit too much firepower on the high ground for Shin to push up, but he takes out this base.
Yeah, he clears the position. He's going to max out his supply. Terran did not lose a lot, but Terran is now on. Okay, hold on. Fungal's connecting. Again, a couple good. Oh my God, some fantastic Fungals here. The Ultra's going to dive in. The tanks don't have a lot of cover. The corrosive bios connect on some. It's just Ravagers, which basically can't retreat off creep. They will always be chased down by infantry.
Man, Maru navigated his army composition so well. The transition in the Marauders came online so quickly that the firepower was just there to deal with the Ultras. Usually there's a window where it's going to be tough for Terra to deal with them, but you know, he lost the planetary fortress, yes, but he's now resaturated it with the main base command center, and now he's pushing back onto Shin's side of the map. Vipers are here, but they're low on energy.
I don't think there's enough of anything here. I think that Maru did it. He won this game. GG. Yeah, I mean, Maru did the dance pretty damn perfectly. There were moments where Shin seemed like he had enough, but you know, you have to make the Ultra Ling Bane with that first hit. Ravagers coming in. You basically have units that can't really retreat. They need to flatten the army. And he kind of came in there and he said, I'm going to go for the planetary. And honestly, you can trade out the planetary because you have the bigger army. You've killed off some Banes, you've killed off some Ultras, and your counterpunch is going to win that game. So we're tied up 1-1.
Honestly, Shin put up a great fight after what was kind of a dreadful early game. He went for the proxy hatchery.
Right.
I think he was expecting to get more done with a Roach Ravager push into the main base of Maru when Maru was still sitting on one base, but Maru just handled it perfectly. The SimCity was excellent. The target fire on the Ravagers was also completely on point.
Yeah.
And Maru on the back foot of that was able to push across the map. He sniped the third hatchery before it was done. And Shin was basically playing on the back foot the entire time from that position on. He had to cut corners. He had to really hinder his own economy. I don't think we ever saw him really leap past 66 drones, which is just 3 base saturation, because he knew he needed to invest absolutely everything into trying to deal with Maru's army. And he still put up a very good fight. So I think if Shin is able to get into the mid-game here in game number 3, we certainly do have a series. But for now, everything tied up 1-1.
All right, guys, game 3 will decide who will take the lead in this best of 5. Hero waiting in the finals for the winner in this series. Let's see who starts to take that lead. right, down here in the bottom left, our Zerg player SHIN. Very exciting that he's made it this far, but he is against the final boss of the GSL, who is here in the upper right in the red.
Big cheers for both players. I think you can't help but cheer for SHIN, honestly. With his track record here versus Maru, everybody would love to see him pick off a series win. It's been over a decade, and he still has not won best of 3 or greater here versus the greatest Terran of all time. Even though we all know he's capable of it.
Yeah, so in this game, no proxy hatchery. And I don't really know what to expect. I will say I think SHIN is in the best form he's ever been in. You know, he is a guy, and I think it's true for most of the players in the GSL. They have improved, right? The problem is when you're in an ecosystem where everybody's getting better, it can look like people aren't moving, right? Maybe because some of the results are about the same, but like everybody's in a better condition. Everybody understands the game better. The game quality, when you see 2 players play, is higher. But SHIN looks so strong. Like, he's really making Maru work for this. Canada, excellent. Now, yeah, I don't know. I mean, let's see what these next couple of games look like. Let's remember that, you know, the game 1, Maru really got shut down a couple of times. SHIN was able to just smash him. Game 2 was a bit odd because even though the cheese failed from SHIN, it was pretty close. I think if we had to go back to that last game and kind of resume from replay, I think the attack on the 4th should have been an attack on the 3rd.
Oh, I see. On
You know what I'm saying?
the last fight that SHIN went for on Maru's side of the map? Yeah, you might be right.
He should have. I think you need to kill the army and not the base. Because you could kill the base in that last game, and it's like, that's fine, but he already made his army. So even if he has a bad trajectory economically, it doesn't really matter because he's got enough to kill you now. So the future of the game is irrelevant because you're not going to be in it for long enough to take advantage of it.
Yeah, in retrospect, it does feel like that was really the one power spike SHIN was going to get in that game to try and take out Maru's army.
So it's going to be 2 base with a Roach Warren and Ling Speed. And I don't want to be too deterministic, but I do feel like you'll see, especially in best of 5s and best of 7s, when one player really feels like they can't do it, you'll start to see the weird builds and the cheese accelerate in each series. So we'll see if this is going to be like a weird Roach Ling timing here. You can always get a couple Roaches or Lings to hold off just Hellions, so it might not mean anything, but I'm just saying.
I feel like if it was defensive Roaches, we likely would be seeing the Roach Warren thrown down after the 3rd hatchery.
That's what I was thinking. I thought the Roach Warren was early enough that this feels like he's trying to get Roaches at a time before the Terran can respond.
And Maru on his side of the map is going into Banshees, which are an excellent response to any sort of early aggression from the Zerg, much like in PvZ, like the Oracle.
Now you need to hide these Roaches. This is one of these builds. It has to operate like a magic trick where you're like trying to make someone's coin disappear. They have to not see. It has to be basically a sleight of hand to get the Roaches across the map. Because once you see the Roaches, I mean, you're not supposed to die to a bunch of Roaches, basically. But if you're not ready for it, the Roaches will come through. They'll do a ton of damage. And he sees it.
Yeah, Maru knows. Banshee going to be hanging on at home now. We might even have a bunker get thrown down here in the natural expansion. Actually, still no bunker here for Maru. He's feeling very confident he's able just to deal with these Roaches straight up. And on SHIN's side of things, he needs to get some pretty good economic damage done for parity here. This is a very big investment going for the fast Roach Warren to lay the 3rd base. All these Roaches could have been drones. I think maybe SHIN is doing... It feels like a smart thing pulling the Roaches back because, as you said, the sleight of hand, it's been exposed now. But it's not a good mid-game to be going into. Opting for these early Roaches and finding no damage for them.
Okay. So now we're going to see the Hellions and the Banshee come around on either side and try to do some damage. You basically just have to avoid the roaches from here. Now, going for roaches early on, you have a little bit less drones. It's not the end of the world if this doesn't work, but you're basically in a part of the game where, like, you haven't been, like, if you look at what Maru's doing, he's, like, just developing. He's building out, he's getting all of his tech, he's getting all of his upgrades, and you know, the problem is that Maru should be in, like, a tempo-wise better place a little bit later on here in this game. And that sucks for Shin because, you know, it's pretty much no one in the world can go toe-to-toe with Maru in a lot of these games. Occasionally it's Rogue, you know, but really hard to do.
Maru going to be taking the third base now at his triangle expansion. Shin expanding towards the center of the map, taking the fourth base. Adding in Carapace for his roaches as well as roach speed. And Shin, to his credit, he's been able to drone very heavily behind these initial 8 roaches. It was a bit of a speed bump to sort of the economic growth arc that Shin had early on, but having these roaches has given him a lot of stability. It's allowed him to fully saturate the 3 bases that he's got, plus then some more. And so on the back of this, he's going to go for an infestation pit and likely make the same transition that we saw in the previous game, with a couple of infestors to bridge the gap as you tech in a hive, and then ultras on the field. And this time he's going to be doing it, if he's able to continue to survive the way that he has without taking too many losses, in a much better shape. The power spec that we saw in the previous game versus Maru, where Shin went for the Ultralisk and was able to find some damage, taking out the Planetary Fortress and a sizable part of Maru's army, it could be significantly greater if Shin is able to get there in a much safer way than he's trying to do right now.
The Banshee's going to come around the side here. The spores are very well placed to where it's pretty hard if you get in to get back out. Queen can come down here and basically zone this away.
Ooh, Maru glimpsed the hive tech coming in.
Yeah.
I imagine we'll get Marauders started very quickly here for Maru then. Yeah, there's 3 of them.
Yeah, now we're going to see more Roach Ravager, and this always seems to be the direction the game's going to go. And this time he's going to go Roach Ravager Baneling. So he may be coming in here. Oh, wow, right when the Hellbat Morph happens. Somehow he doesn't get either. That's crazy to me.
Maru's going to try and catch this army. +1 Carapace not yet done. Shin retreating back to safety. A lot of Banelings morphing in right now. And this is a big window for Maru to get some damage done. Shin engaging onto this. The Violets will take down one of these siege tanks, but there's a lot of Marines, upgraded Marines here on the front line. Going to work on that hatchery.
Again, you know, this is something that Maru's so good at, is basically coming in and plucking the hatchery out and then not losing anything. You know, most TVZs, I don't know if it's just the chemistry of the 2 play styles of these guys and you mix them together and this is the kind of game you get, but usually the Zerg tries to use the hatchery at the last second to soak up some damage and then, like, save it when it's got, like, 15 or 20% HP. But instead, like, somehow Shin is too cautious, gives up the hatchery positionally, and then Maru just murders it and gets back out like it's a bank robbery or something. And, you know, then, you know, Shin is just in a worse position later on.
I mean, Maru's just firing on all cylinders. He's up to full 3-base saturation. I imagine we'll have a 4th command center being thrown down very soon if we don't have one already. Oh, there it is. Getting ready to secure the 4th base. And Maru will soon be operating on as many functioning expansions as Shin. Shin's only just now expanding into the center. And the upgrades from Maru, they're exceptional. He's already getting to work on +3 infantry weapons, so he's a pace ahead of Shin in terms of upgrades too. I do like the mix-up from Shin to not go for the Ultras this time, though. He's trying to come online a little bit faster, going for Adrenal, making a lot more Zerglings.
Yeah, there's no timing I think he can get with the Ultras, just the way this game's gone.
Especially because the Hive got scouted.
Right, yeah, there's no element of surprise. And so Maru's going to begin that tug-of-war on the map here. He's once again going to poke out a base, and this time it wasn't canceled. So, I mean, he's getting win after win, and it's never a trade. I mean, to get a base for free, effectively, and he's going to have a 3rd hatchery that's killed off here. I think Shin can't recover in this game.
Too many expansions have fallen. Maru's already maxed now. He's going to be with +3 infantry weapons, +2 infantry armor. And Maru's just building up his entire tech tree. He's got 6 siege tanks back at home. A couple of them, I suppose, are with this army. The only thing that Maru's really missing right now is Ghosts, and I'm sure he's going to begin adding those in. Yeah, there's the Ghost Academy right now. It feels like everything has gone Maru's way so far in this game. He's taken out so many expansions. SHIN right now mining on 4 bases. Zerg never wants to be on equal bases with Terran, and Maru's going to push in once more. Baneling connections potentially going to be good. Oh, that Widow Mine shot, though, caught most of the Banelings there on the front line, and Maru's able to retreat back to the safety of his 3rd base. Will SHIN continue to push it? He drops the Blinding Clouds, but the SimCity is such that it is so difficult for SHIN to actually break through.
He's sniping Banelings that are retreating right now. The Biles, of course, easily dodged. As he's going to hit, I mean, I've lost count how many times the Hatchery's been taken out over here, man. I think this could be the 3rd time if he succeeds in this attack. And again, I mean, the Zerg is just getting thinned out over and over and over.
These are some tough engagements right now for SHIN, who's beginning the Ultras transition. The first Ultras should be out on the field very soon with their armor upgrade. And maybe that will help him stabilize. SHIN has been able to shave off, I think, a pretty good number of Marauders, but Maru just knows that it's a matter of time before the Ultras get on the field, so he's constantly replenishing the Marauder count.
Okay, he is going to attack it again. This is the moment with the Ultras you have to make this time work. And the position seems to be pretty fractured, actually, for Terran. He's going to end up moving in towards the Planetary.
Oh, this SimCity is so good, though, Tasteless. How do you fight into this right now? The Planetary in a maze of orbitals.
Yeah, I mean, that was like a gauntlet to get through to even then die to the Planetary itself. And this is the moment that SHIN has to really try to harness what he's got. Because if Terran can kind of blast through this, I think Terran is going to be back with the pushing.
It's kind of unbelievable that SHIN is doing this well, pushing into Maru after losing, what was it, 3 bases in total in the mid-game? It just goes to show what a good player he is. You have to think that if he's able to iron out these problems in the early and mid-game versus Maru, is going to be a lot better. And now he's going to try again. Blinding Clouds going deep into this junction between the command centers. And that might be enough for SHIN to actually take down some of these orbitals. On the front line, very low on HP. This Planetary is so low.
I don't know about this. Sometimes the Planetary sponging is like what lets you win the fight. Because now Terran is going to counterattack, and this is like, right now it looks like a pretty low-tech army. I guess I say that and 2 Ultras come up here, but you know, you didn't get the job done, right? A lot of your resources were spent damaging a Planetary that was ultimately repaired.
SHIN not able to get impactful damage done yet. Just shaving off a couple of macro command centers, not going to do it. If he can take down this Planetary, that'd be a nice win. He's able to catch Maru a little bit out of position. There's just enough DPS to take it out, but now we have a ton of Ghosts on the field. You already see the snipes coming down as Maru drops the 6 o'clock expansion.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty scrappy game, right? I think SHIN is now kind of ballooned out on his side of the map to where he's got his bases, he's getting the resources come in. Terran has actually been hit pretty hard, but I think still has most of the high-tech stuff, has a lot of the tanks, has a lot of the Ghosts. And I don't know where this game goes from here, honestly. I do think the creep spread is pretty bad. You know, ideally in a game like this, the Zerg would want to have the creep really pushed out so that you can reinforce, that you can counterattack, you can basically snake around the map, shark around the map, and look for fights. And you know, sometimes this happens in intense games where the Zerg just like stops spreading creep, which is always a bad sign.
I think that something needs to change here for SHIN. His army composition is not going to continue to get better, whereas Maru's is. Maru is replacing all of these SCVs, all of the bio units that he loses with more Ghosts, with more siege tanks. He is actively getting better after every single engagement, and SHIN just keeps replenishing the same army, which is a good army here in the mid-game. But I think if SHIN wants to break through, it's either going to take one big engagement that he's going to be victorious in, which is hard to do versus Maru. I should hold that thought. SHIN's going to go for it once more. Can he find the connections onto the Ghost? It's the important thing to watch out for. The Banelings trying to stream past the Marines into the Ghost. Blinding Clouds drop on the siege tanks. The Planetary will fall. Banelings do not get the connections onto the Ghost, but a lot of infrastructure falling here for Maru.
And, you know, he's taking quite the beating trying to run back over here. The problem is that I don't know that Terran is losing enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, Zerg has to sacrifice a lot every time they come across the map like this. Now, Ragnarok, or SHIN, excuse me, has not really been damaged that much on his side of the map. He's still mining. And Terran is basically just throwing in like backup orbitals in here to take this. Maybe he can keep going though. He can take out this position over here at 3 o'clock. This is a pretty meager defense.
SHIN needs to continue trying to break open these positions. You have to keep momentum going with this composition right now, but is there enough DPS to actually take down that planetary fortress? The siege tanks and the Liberators paired up, do a lot of damage to the Ultras. Eventually the planetary will fall. Maru instantly rebuilds it on site. And SHIN, to his credit, he's getting a lot of damage done now. He took down the planetary fortress in the center. He's forced evacuations at this 12 o'clock expansion multiple times. Was able to take out the expansion at 3 o'clock. These are the moves that you need to make with the composition that SHIN is running. And I like the addition of infestors that he made a little while ago. We now have 5 infestors on the field. This is what I was thinking he needed to do earlier. Maybe 1 or 2 burrowed infestors and keep 3 of them with your main army. And if you're able to catch the Terran, specifically the Ghosts with a fungal, that can completely turn the tide of the game. Because otherwise, Maru, again, will just continue trading out these armies. That's a very unlucky infestor.
Yeah.
He'll continue trading out these armies and replenishing with something better.
Yeah, he is not getting those out in time. I like this one harass Ultra up here at 12 o'clock. It is eventually going to be found. I think you got to be very careful to use Ultras like that because it's, you know, it's such a valuable unit where Lings could basically do the same thing. So Terran is turtled up. He's not really taking much more damage. Zerg is growing into the bottom right corner. We're going to run out of bases, by the way, guys. You got to remember, you know, outside of the bases that basically both sides had this whole game, the only thing that's left is the bottom right and the top left. So, and you know, Maru's very crafty in games like this. The exhaust play that he's so infamous for. And SHIN's going to go to both of these spots.
Spire finishing up for SHIN. I imagine he's planning on a tech transition into Broodlords at some point. The issue is that the ghost count's already so high here for Maru. Tough to make this work. SHIN attacks in once more here at the 12 o'clock. This base is just constantly raided by SHIN. This time 6 more SCVs falling, but again, it feels like the damage that SHIN is getting done, it's good that he's being active like this, but it's never enough damage to really slow down Maru, it feels like. You know, Maru has gotten so big at this point that it feels like these attacks come in, and yes, maybe a planetary or an orbital command will get taken down, but it's never severe damage to Maru himself. He constantly seems to be a little bit better a couple minutes later.
Okay, so I think it's finally Maru's turn to move out. He has to pick a target and go, but at this point in time, SHIN is getting a lot of minerals banked up, a lot of gas banked up. And he is taking every other spot on the map. SHIN could be in the endgame position he needs. It's all going to come down to this push here from Maru, which, by the way, is very Marauder heavy, which really mutes the power of Banelings. It makes it a lot harder for everything to be killed up. Very different from your Marine-only army.
All right, SHIN pressing the attack right now. Good funnel, catching a lot of the medevacs as well as the bio right now, and SHIN's going to pull back after taking the win that was his to take.
And, you know, he's going to make about 50 more Zerglings, another Ultralisk here, and he wants to basically try to smash the army over and over.
But, sorry, go ahead, Tasteless.
No, I was going to, these 2 bases, top left, bottom right. He's got him. I don't know if Maru's even scanned, actually, to see those bases. I don't think he sees this one in the top left for sure because he's just blindly floating a command center over there. Another attack comes in. Terran's well positioned, but Zerg is the rich one right now. Zerg can spend their way out of this by just colliding with everything that there is over here. And I think he can actually break this position. This is like nowhere near enough. There's a bunch of ghosts over here.
That Cloak Ghost getting split up right now.
Oh my god, he's going to wipe all the SCVs out. Now he's going to run back. Terran not really able to chase that much down over here. And there are drones mining in the bottom right and top left.
SHIN's playing a good game right now. He's getting damage done. Maru's going to struggle to reach max supply once more, especially because Maru is pivoting to a more valuable army composition right now. When he's trading out this bio, he's adding in a lot more siege tanks. He's trying to play in a ghost mech. I think we now have 3 factories on Maru's side of the map. And with this counterpunch, he's actually able to take out the hatchery. So this will disrupt the mining from SHIN a little bit. SHIN does have the expansions at the top left and the bottom right to saturate.
I think this is okay for SHIN. Now, Maru's going to back up. which I think he has to do. You can't try to push further in here. There is a burrowed infestor there, by the way, so we could see some pretty crazy fungals if Terran decides to move out. And you poked out that middle base. That's probably the most pushable base that SHIN has, and I think that's the 4th time it's been killed, by the way. He's going to run in here now. He's got Corruptors, so he can just take these medevacs out, making it a lot more difficult, excuse me, to basically kite and then keep these also alive at the same time. Dumping changelings over here, kind of a funny moment.
SHIN's continuing to push in. I think he might have just finally started to break Maru. The Fungal's going to catch a ton of the bio. The Banelings actually get connections on a 2-go, so they're going to fall.
I think that's it. I think Terran is in such bad shape. He can now, Zerg is remaxing. There's 4 Ultras and like 50 Lings being made. There's no Planetary over here. I cannot believe it. We just are seeing SHIN defeat Maru in a macro game. 24 SCVs gone, leaving only 21 SCVs in this game right now. 1 mining base for Maru. And SHIN, with some deep, deep pockets here. Able to attack in once again, sacrifice units to trade out the few things that Maru still has.
SHIN just playing this very aggressive style, able to compound the damage, keep the momentum building. And Maru on his last legs going to try and use these 2 orbitals as a wall. But SHIN skirts right on past them, charges in with the Ultras and the Lings. And there's only Ghost remaining for Maru in the bottom right side. The entire natural expansion is overrun. SHIN can work his way into the main base now, and he's on top of the production.
Maru is dead. There's no way he could win this game. He's going to lose his main infrastructure. He's only got these ghosts. That's like the only thing that Maru has. GG, SHIN takes the lead in what is becoming one of the craziest upsets we've had here. Maru, in an unimaginable position, is 1 loss away from being knocked out. This is insane. And let's not forget that SHIN cheesed in Game 2 and it didn't work, right? I mean, these Game 1 and Game 3 were much more like what you would imagine a toe-to-toe TVZ would look like.
Yeah, and even in Game 3, it felt like the early and the mid-game was so bad for SHIN, and he was still able to convert it into a victory. It's kind of unbelievable, the position that we're in right now. SHIN just 1 map went away from finally, after a decade plus, taking a series off of Maru and doing it on the biggest stage here at the offline GSL finals.
Beautifully done here by SHIN. SHIN, he just needs 1 more. Let's see if he can do it. We're going to a short break, guys. Coming up next, Game 4.
Keep getting lost in the dark, lose sight in just a beat of a heart, held on tight to a star that doesn't get me very far. And then the day came out, the night, now I'm awake. It shines so bright, illuminate my tired eyes. Come out and find me in the light. I know you will find me in the light. In the light. That's the thing. Tomorrow we both know the sun will rise, so you can find me in the light. That's the thing. Tomorrow we both know the sun will rise, so you can find me in the light. My eyes have nothing to see. I'm at the lock, but still I can't find the key. You know where to be seen, but I know you're always looking for me. Yeah, and then the day came out, the night, now I'm awake. It shines so bright, illuminate my tired eyes. Come out and find me in the light.
GSL Season 1.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to go to Game 4 on the map Mothership. SHIN is up 2-1 against Maru. What?
This might be the day. SHIN just one map win away from finally defeating Maru in a Best of X series. It has been a long time coming. Can he actually do it? Because SHIN is looking incredible, honestly.
Yes, and not just that, but Maru's looking a little rough around the edges here.
Yeah. I think back to the command center, they lost to Zerglings, I believe, in game number 1.
Man. Yeah, the command center going down, it seemed like he kind of ran out of gas in game 3. Where, like, you know, he just wasn't able to be as active or as engaged. He wasn't able to accomplish as much. He kind of pushed out that middle base, and it's like, it doesn't matter. He already took the other 2 corners, you know? And, you know, this means that SHIN can win in mid-game. He can win in late game too. And that's a scary thing, because I think a lot of us kind of expect that in a long game, Maru always comes out on top against Zerg. And that didn't happen. Now, some of that might be map dependent. Mothership is a very, very different map. And actually, Mothership in some ways could be worse for this. If Zerg can kind of keep expanding to one side, it might be hard for Terran to push. I don't know. Anyways, guys, we're going to go into game number 4. SHIN versus Maru continues on. Right now, SHIN with a 2-1 lead. Okay, SHIN here in 6 o'clock. And Maru. And Maru's up here.
I'm thinking back to game number 3 for SHIN, and the early game it just felt like was so poor. You know, things just kept going Maru's way. Maru was able to take down the central hatchery, I think, 2 times in the early game. He also took down the expansion at 6 o'clock. And in that entire time, it felt like there were no counter punches from SHIN that were able to get any damage done. It seemed like everything was going Maru's way. Oh, upside down, there we go.
That was close. Go SHIN. It's hard to not support SHIN right now, by the way. Like, honestly, you know, I'll tell you guys the truth. I kind of came in here and kind of thought, all right, well, this is going to be business as usual in this series. Probably going to be a 3-0. And it is exciting to see that we have, you know, SHIN actually potentially causing an upset. I mean, even if this goes 3-2 Maru, this is a way better, closer series than I imagined it was going to be, which is a very welcome thing.
Yeah, SHIN has been leveling up. The last couple of times that they've faced SHIN and Maru, SHIN has gotten close to beating him several times. In the RSL, in the GSL, also in online tournaments, SHIN has constantly been on match point, just has not been able to convert that final victory. But you know, again, going back to game number 3, the fact that the early game, it just felt like it was so poor for SHIN. The fact that he was able to convert that into a victory in the late game versus Maru is so impressive.
Right.
You know, the momentum was not on his side, and we were talking about what kind of moves SHIN might benefit from to kind of turn the tide and start building up an advantage. And eventually he actually did it. SHIN, just with a pile driver, was able to continue to push in with Ultralisks, with Lings, with Banelings, and it felt like he did a great job of trading out the army of Terran such that Maru at some point was not getting stronger.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see anything but Roach Ravager in the mid-game here, by the way, into the Ultra Tech. This seems to be very popular right now. We've seen it before, but it seems like everybody's kind of doing it. I don't think we're going to have a game of like Ling, Muta, Bane, which is, you know, not that it's bad, but it seems kind of passe right now. Remember that this is the last Terran in the tournament. So it's not like Cure 1 and, you know, Ragnarok has to know, you know, okay, what builds can I bring out so I can also beat Cure? You know, all he has to do is have one more, anything, and all in, a macro game, a timing attack, something. To win against Maru here, and he has done it, and he has broken free from the chains of the past, you know, where he has always defaulted into being less than Maru.
Would love to see Shin come through with an upset here versus Maru. It will be a great story, a great kickoff to GSL in 2026. We'll just wait and see what these final 2 games are going to go for. Maru, of course, just wants another GSL trophy. He's already got so many. Really the greatest player of all time here in the GSL. And then game number 4, Maru's going for a particularly greedy opener. It's a very fast 3rd command center, and then behind that, 2 barracks, a factory, and immediately double engineering bay being thrown down. So Maru clearly gearing up to play a longer game here versus Shin.
The Hellions are going to come down now. And, you know, there's a lot of similar looking things here in this game. But remember that Zerg didn't do anything crazy to start this off, right? Like, even the last game, we actually had a couple roaches. He was going to try to surprise Maru, kind of blindside him with them. This is not one of those games. This is a roach war and after the layers started. Nice trap. He almost gets it. He tries again, and he will take out one Hellion.
Nice move there by Shin. Catching these Hellions is big. It's a lot of the early game presence.
If he's fast enough.
Once more Roach Warren being constructed here for Shin. Likely to stabilize his mid game here. It's much later than the early Roach Warrens that we saw in previous games in this series. The layer also nearly done. +1 Carapace getting started. It seems like we might transpose into Ultras once more here for Shin. It seems like that is kind of the game plan coming in versus Maru.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, if I were Shin just looking at this game, I go, you do what works. Especially the way that game worked out in the last one. I think you got to go with, you know, what you already succeeded with. And everything about this game kind of looks like that, right? I don't think Zerg's going to try anything crazy, right? I don't think you have to. So he's taken out the Reaper and the Hellions on the map. Now Terran is going to be ready with the double medevacs to try to move out on the map again.
Maru trying to secure this position to take his 3rd base. Shin does have quite a few forces right outside the gates here. It's mostly Lings trying to find an entry into the natural expansion. Shin saw earlier there isn't a wall in set up by Maru yet, so if Maru overextends a little bit with those first 2 medevacs worth of Marines, he should be able to find some damage. And that means that Maru's going to be hanging back for now. Just wants to play it safe as possible.
Okay, so we are, for now, we're just kind of playing a very, very development-oriented game. Zerg may do a poke out here. You know, Terran did take this pretty quickly, but you got to be careful. I mean, the Marines are out here. This is not a lot of Roach Ravager. There should be tanks up here ready to fight too. Okay, so the tanks are pretty far back. I don't know that he can make this work. He is going to kill off a couple of workers. The Lings are going to come forward here. Look at how well timed this is.
All the Lings looking for this round right now onto the Zergling, or onto the Marines.
Oh my God, this was a disaster.
Yeah, and not the best trade there for Shin, but he was able to take down a pretty good amount of bio.
He did kill the SCVs. I mean, getting 11 SCVs is pretty good, but he gave up a decent amount of army. He actually saved the Ravagers, which is probably the most important thing. If you lose the Ravagers, it's a pretty big loss. They're pretty expensive. But I'm a little bit wary for Shin here. I feel like there could be a timing attack here from Maru that could be pretty devastating.
Especially with Maru expanding linearly down the right side of the map, it means he's closer to Shin. That 3rd base is a pretty nice staging ground to eventually work his way towards natural expansion in the 3rd base of Shin. So
I think that Maru flew through the blind spot here. I don't think this base that we're looking at right now is going to be here for much longer.
Shin is getting on top of this with some roaches, but those are 1-1 Marines, so they're doing a lot of damage right now, pushing in. Oh, I'm worried about those Ravagers actually. Maru to turn around. I think he might snipe a couple of those, but instead prioritizing the drones. 11, 12 drones getting taken out, and Maru's not done yet. He's going to try and drop into either the 3rd base or the main.
Yeah, he's going to be cut off at the pass here as these Lings are going to come up. Oh, I'm sorry. 1-1 Marines are better than I appreciate it. He can actually unload that and keep fighting. He's going to deny the... Oh, now this is probably the biggest thing that's happened in this game. Because losing missile attacks is just so bad, especially when your core tech is Roach Ravager.
Yeah, there is a Hive transition coming in right now for SHIN, but he's lost so many workers. You really see SHIN right now in his chair. He's kind of shaking his head a little bit, not happy with the way this has been going. And it's getting worse right now with even more Marines coming in, more drones.
I don't know, man. I feel like SHIN is just taking a beating a little bit too much here. Like, this doesn't feel like it's going to be a healthy position for the Zerg. Like, a lot of times Zergs are kind of ramping up to maxing out and trying to hit the Terran with the timing. Instead, Terran's almost the same size supply-wise. Yeah, I mean, this just looks like, you know, it's been a couple nice tactical moves here from Maru, and this could lead to an inevitable push that would be a kill in the mid-game.
And I think now is the window for Maru to try and go. He scouted the infestation pit in the main base of SHIN with that last drop, and so he knows that Hive transition is underway, and hitting at the timing right now capitalizes both on the damage that Maru was able to do to the drones. Oh, hold that thought, actually. SHIN's trying to engage right now, but he sees that arc on the low ground, and it is a little bit too much. And Maru actually stimming forward. Bio's catching one of the medevacs. I think there's enough Bio to actually push through. The DPS just a little bit too high right now.
Okay, nice counterattack here with the Lings, but the push persists. These Lings are temporary, but I don't know if this push here from Maru is going to be stopped. He's going to be able to deny the Baneling nest, and the, okay, centrifugal hooks shut down at the last second. That's a second massive upgrade that was denied here. He's in a really annoying spot because you can basically just pick up at the last second, move back, and then let the siege tanks do the extra damage over there. Now, SHIN shoves in and uses the corrosive biles to explode the tanks. SHIN's going to keep counterattacking, but Maru's got so many answers.
Maru did not lose very many workers to the Ling counterattack there by SHIN, but SHIN did keep the reinforcements back at home. That allowed SHIN to stabilize here. Still, losing ranged missile attack, losing Baneling speed are both huge losses here for SHIN. And after a favorable trade for Maru, it feels like SHIN can't really afford to even make the transition into Ultras. Even though the Hive Tech is done, I think he needs to mostly just sit on Vipers, sit on Roach Ravager, and only after he's able to stabilize on this composition can he actually begin teching up into the more advanced Zerg units. For now, you have to play this low-tech game because the proximity of Maru's third base to your expansions is so close, and the threat of attack from Maru is so high.
Yeah, so they, okay, hold on a second. Let's see how this next big attack hits. This infantry weapons level 3 is going to hit. There is the attack at the 4th base. Blinding clouds are going to come down. These tanks are very nicely spread out. Oh my God, he gets every single one. There's even another tank back here.
Hold on a second, Tasteless. SHIN is just breaking through this position. Maru may be a little bit too ambitious with that double drop.
Oh my God, yeah, I think you're right, State. I think the drop may have been a little bit much. It's still going on.
It's taken down one expansion. It's going for the second one already. If Maru can stabilize here in the natural expansion, he might be able to hold. 3-3 is finishing up now for Maru. It's a beautiful concave for Terran, and SHIN cannot break through.
The thing is, Maru is just continuing to move forward. He's going to knock him down to one base if he keeps going on like this. There's so much here from the infantry. The Medivacs, though, not really able to do much healing. They're all depleted, and he's still going to tear through Zerg. GG, Maru ties it up 2-2. And I got to say, a delightfully close game.
And well-played game by
Maru. That was crazy, dude. This is such a great series.
It's been a great day of games so far here at GSL. This offline finals absolutely delivering. We are all tied up now, and honestly, impressive win by Maru. I take it back.
Yeah.
It absolutely did not overextend with that double drop. It was just enough units to take down all the extra expansions for SHIN. That as long as Maru stabilizes, it doesn't matter if he loses the front line of tanks. It doesn't matter if he loses the SCV at the third base. Eventually, SHIN is going to run out of gas. SHIN is going to have to find an answer for that drop in his base. Otherwise, Maru, he's able to stabilize and win the game. And now we're going to game number 5. All tied up here. The winner of this match is going to move on to the grand finals to face Hero in a best-of-7 series. And the question once again arises, can SHIN actually take down Maru? He is so close right now. He is one map win away. We're going to go to Winter Madness for map number 5.
And I mean, that last game was so close. I couldn't tell who was going to take that until the very end. I mean, SHIN's attack looked pretty insane. I almost wonder if he had ran up there even quicker into the main, maybe he could have actually done that. The depot wall was bottlenecky enough. You could see the Ravagers couldn't quite fit through. how is SHIN going to play this? Is Maru going to actually manage to pull through here? It's been a real back and forth, maybe the closest match these two have ever had. It's all going to come down to this final game, Game 5. SHIN here in the bottom right. I don't do these kind of intros anymore, guys. It's been years. They changed the format, and now we're back because the Korean casters are different. Sorry. They used to go like, in the top left, in the red, but then a voice would come on.
Yeah.
Maru.
I still think of that voice.
Me too.
I still think of you going, staying
alive.
alive.
That was all of StarCraft 2 esports was leading up to that moment.
Oh my goodness. That's what StarCraft 2 esports was here
that
to
was
do.
all for.
That's
man.
where we
it's that
peaked.
moment. Yeah.
It wasn't Wings of Liberty. It wasn't sold out crowds. It was staying alive.
We can end this great esports experiment right now because of that moment. So, no proxy hatch, by the way. No proxy racks from Terran.
I like that SHIN is playing a more standard game
15 years. Hell yes. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Finally made it out. GSL forever, indeed.
Double racks again in the main.
It's interesting the Maru keeps mixing this in. I thought it might be a one-off thing.
It's our CEO in the audience here. Yeah, I mean, this was... I don't know why I'm surprised that this is the build Maru's doing. I guess I thought this would be kind of the curveball weird build.
Yeah, well, we don't really see 2 Racks Reaper play like this very often, do we? Usually it's with a wall in at the natural expansion, the way that Byun used to do years ago, the one that he popularized in the GSL. So it's a little bit different to go for the Reapers here in the main base. I would love to pick a Terran player's brain about all of the pros and cons of doing this either in the low ground of the natural expansion or here in the main base. To me, it seems like one of the main advantages is that SHIN will not immediately know exactly what is going on. There's just a little bit more fog of war for SHIN to try and cover. And so Maru might be able to do something similar to what he did in, I believe it was Game 1, where he went up to 4 or 5 Reapers. And although he wasn't able to deny the hatchery from going down immediately, he got it to like 30 or 40% HP. And it was then just a target on SHIN's back for a later push.
Yeah, no, it's funny. These things ripple into the later part of the game. So he's going to hide the drone, by the way, just to make sure. And, you know, let's see if anything unique happens in this dance. Oh, he gets a Ling. Wow, 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 wow.
He gets a drone.
And he gets a drone. Okay, this is a little scary. You really, you know, can't afford to lose too much early on. And now he's going to start to chip away at the hatchery.
That's a very forward expansion that
Dude,
SHIN
that's
went for, by the
so
way.
far away. Oh, I don't like this.
I am so surprised that SHIN went for that base. I suppose if you're playing Roach Ravager in the mid game, it's not too scary, but still. I mean, that is so far forward.
Look at how long it takes the queens to get over here. And again, you don't want to hemorrhage Lings.
I almost feel like SHIN should cut his losses, just cancel this, but instead he's going to try.
Oh my god, this is going to be a terrible way to lose if this goes down.
Hatchery just lower and lower on HP. It forces the Lings to engage, but they can't actually connect.
The counterattack is a great idea. This is going to be really taxing on both sides to control.
Yeah, the Reapers could even start isolating the Queens if they want. Yep, that's happening. One Queen goes down. SCVs versus Lings on the other side of the map, so at least SHIN is getting some damage done. If SHIN can stabilize with the third base and take on a couple more SCVs, this might be a big win for him. But again, you got to be so careful with these Lings. Oh, hold on, Tasteless. Ling speed is done.
7 SCVs killed. Lings are counterattacking. I'm sorry, were the Reapers just stopped? I feel like there was too much happening here.
The Reapers, yeah, the third base survived. The Reapers are on their way back home.
Okay, here they go. So they are back here. The Lings are doing a lot of... There's no SCVs repairing this.
Whoa, hold the phone right now. Depot's going to go down. Lings are in the main base. There is a bit of a choke point, though. They can only connect one at a time with the Reapers. This should still convert into more SCVs going down, though.
Yeah, oh my god, it's 6 more, and there's going to be probably a few more that are going to be killed. More Lings are coming in here. This is 28 drones to 18 SCVs.
Honestly, things felt like they were already okay for SHIN after the first round of Lings went in and cleaned up, what was it, 6 or 7 SCVs? But behind that, for there to be no repair on the supply depot, in total, 14 SCVs going down. That is huge.
Maru is kind of slow today.
Yeah, it's not been his best day.
I mean, you know, we saw the CC go down earlier. Double eBay.
I think this is a really smart move, honestly. The early game has been so bad here for Maru that if you're going to win, it's going to be in the late game.
Yeah, I think there literally is no mid game for Terran. I think you're like, all right, I'll see you in 10 minutes. Like, I am going to have a third base later. I'm going to power up. By the way, I think this is a game where Zerk could have a mid game timing.
Oh, absolutely.
Ro.4. I mean, this is kind of it.
I wonder if that's where SHIN is going to take us. Because if you have an early game like this one, it is absolutely in the cards to end things. With something like a Ro.4 push, potentially even a Nidus, there's a blind spot in the main base of Maru still. I'm sure eventually he will populate that with either a supply deep or some other structure to get the vision, but just thinking down the road.
Okay, so this Overlord Scout is, I think, not going to see the third CC, right?
Oh, he saw it with a Ling, so.
Oh, I'm sorry, of course. Well, then
the
one thing you wouldn't see would be the double eBay, which you're not going to find anything there. But I guess you also don't see more barracks, right? You don't see a starport, so you know there's not a lot of infrastructure, like production infrastructure, that you're working against.
Yeah, SHIN should know that he has basically free reign to play this mid game however he wants to play. He can continue to go back into speed roaches with +1 carapace into ultras. It's been very successful for him thus far. He can mix it up and go for a mid game timing attack instead. But honestly, Maru, in the face of adversity, has been so good at staying alive. I feel like playing for a mid-game push like that one, when you've already in this series established that you can beat Maru in the late game, as we saw earlier on, I think the ultra play is just the safer thing to do. I mean, it's kind of SHIN's style. If my memory is correct, I think he was the one who really popularized it at Dallas some years ago. And he is so good at executing with that build. He's been able to convert games into wins when they, by rights, it feels like should have been losses with how the early game went. So
SHIN has just been in such a good spot this game. He knows, like, this is going to be maybe the most important day in his career if he can pull this off. He knows he's, again, in a spot where if he can, like, just kind of navigate the ship, he can do this. He's going to go for a trap, and he's, I think, going to get at least some of this. This is getting pretty, oh, God. Okay, he gets the Reapers, but, you know, the Hellions are the real target. The Reapers fall off in significance. You know, the further along the game goes, the Hellions can kind of always be used. Baneling's Nest is coming down. 1-1 is being produced here. No missile attack, by the way.
A lot more Lings right now for SHIN. I think SHIN over the course of the series has been adding the second evolution chamber a little bit late. Oh, and it's going to be Hydralisks.
Oh, wow.
What a mix-up.
Interesting.
I wonder if a Hydraling Baneling attack, because SHIN is still on relatively low drone count. You know, he was up quite considerably versus Maru earlier on in the game, and it seems like he kind of petered out around 66, just 3-base saturation.
Yeah.
I wonder if this builds up to a timing attack, if SHIN could actually just dislodge the third base of Maru, because
I wonder if you're right. If he could just come in there and blast that all down and kill the command center and, like, run back and play a really easy late game. You know, where the Terran is completely, like, just mathematically behind. So Maru, you know, the only, I think, out that he has right now is to try to do these little guerrilla attacks and get value. And it's pretty doable against Ling Baneling, by the way.
SHIN up to 80 drones now. It seems like for at least the moment, that's all that he's going to be building. He's adding in Hydralisks and Zerglings in large numbers. I think the third or fourth base is going to be the target here for SHIN. He already has a very nice economic base set up, even actually trickling out a couple more drones behind this. 83 drones is a very healthy economy here for Zerg. And I love the split that SHIN is doing, having an army on the north side and one over here in the center left.
He's basically setting up to counter the counter. He's kind of in, like, landing zones where this would be. Now, it's showtime. He's going to move out. And the Terran's going to take the fourth base. So, I mean, there's two targets he could hit here. I thought he had more hiders in this. He only has 4 right now. He's got a few more that are hatching. And Terran's 2-2 is going to be done.
I think SHIN might just be using this as a composition to play the mid game to get up to Hive. The Hive just now starts here for SHIN. It's not a very fast Hive.
Well, he is going to rally this army over here, so I think he wants to do something. By the way, the creep spread is immaculate.
Yes.
Like, he's kind of firing on all cylinders here. making sure that basically, the whole map is going to be paved with creep.
Oh,
he's going to go for drops. I feel like this is not the best map for drop because the second and the third base kind of cover for the main.
I wonder if he would go in by the natural instead. Just try and beeline to the main base from there.
Okay, so what he wants to do is basically set... Oh, hold on a second. By the way, we need to watch this drop carefully. Oh!
Oh, SHIN dodged it.
Okay. He did not get spotted.
That's a huge moment
Drop
right now
overlords,
for SHIN.
yeah, they look fast until you see everything else moving around, and you're like, these are so slow.
All right, watch the minimap closely. SHIN is setting up for an attack at the 9 o'clock position.
Yeah, he's going to hit the natural, you're right.
4 drop overlords will head into the natural. They might even go into the main base. And SHIN is feeding information. He knows there's sensor towers right now. He's feeding information. He's saying, look at the front of your base right now. As SHIN is getting ready to attack into the 4th expansion. The Lings, they're unloading now into the natural. 2 more overlords have not unloaded. They're going to drop off in the main base.
Here we go. He's going to try to take out this space and the one above it.
Banelings, does SHIN spend them right now on the planetary fortress? It seems like he will.
Yeah, he takes just the bare minimum, though. Not overdoing it. So he pokes that out.
It's a very smart play right now.
You kind of recoil back into your base and you reset.
By the way, look at the siege tank line of Maru. He has so many siege tanks set up. There's 7 tanks between the natural and the 3rd base right now.
Yeah, and they're all daisy chained together. So he's going to go to Lurker Tech. Now, the Lurker Tech can just obliterate positions. Tanks are still, I think, probably the most important thing you want to watch for from Terran in a game like this. I do feel like with a drop, you can only do that once. Drop overlords are just, they're not that fast. And I think this is actually a bad map for drops just because you don't have access to the main immediately. He's going to come in again.
Now would be a good time for it. There's no planetary up just yet.
Yeah,
Although maybe he would want Maru to commit to a planetary so that he can't lift it back up.
That's an interesting thought.
Double Nidus Worm was thrown down there on the production tower. We only got a glimpse of it. So SHIN's going to get really aggressive now with these lurkers.
I think he wanted to use those for the Nidus Worms. Well, no, actually, I see what you're saying. So he could just have one on either side.
Yeah, say you drop a Nidus Worm in the natural expansion, one in the main base. As long as one pops, dude, the lurkers can come out.
SHIN has every base on the map. Almost every base, I should say.
SHIN is almost expanding as fast as Hero.
Yeah. SHIN's like, I'm going to be like a Protoss against a Terran and be like the Zerg. It's like, okay, man.
All right, Lurker is going to be heading into the Nidus. Looking at the minimap, I don't see any points of vision for SHIN, so he's going to have to use the Speed Overseers to try and find an angle to Nidus Network into the main base. And this almost feels reminiscent of the TVZs that we saw years ago in the GSL, of Terran just trying to turtle and play for the late game, played it into getting Ghost Mech, and Zerg trying to break them with a high drone count on a lot of bases. And now it's going to be SHIN queuing in.
Okay, he's just going to spill in here, and this base is going down. The tanks are wiped, and the Niduses are coming, and SHIN is so close to the execution. But Maru sees it. He's going to run back, but this is why you get 2.
And there's one in the natural, one in the main base. The one in the natural expansion will be dealt with. The main base, Maru has a stim up here.
Oh, he's got to get the lurkers out. The lurkers, if they can burrow, he's going to hit from the low ground. The lurkers are kind of... Wait, is there anything left?
There's 3 lurkers left. Now SHIN pushing into the center base. There aren't enough Bailings to take on the planetary, so instead SHIN opts for the Ghost. A very smart move. Another Nidus Network going to pop.
Such a confusing game.
Yeah, the problem is, though, that with the Ghosts, Maru could just snipe these down from afar. It was a good distraction that SHIN was able to set up here in the main base of Maru. So many of Maru's forces were forced back, but I feel like SHIN wasn't able to convert this into significant damage. If he was able to take down the planetary in the center, it would have been huge.
I think he should have tried to take out the planetary in the center. I think he was trying to be everywhere a little bit too much. It's not the longest travel distance there to get. Now, the base that Maru has that's of value, it's at half HP. He actually didn't repair it in the chaos of that last game. The rest of this is relocating down there. There's nothing else with vision to do the Nidus play again. But let's see. I mean, let's see what he's got. I think he could just try to blow this up. The thing is, he has so much money, he could basically just burn Banes onto that and then run away and then probably loop back around to the bottom. And you might look at that and go, that's not cost efficient. Yeah, but he's loaded. He has the whole map. The idea that we see in PVT, where the Protoss, and this is very modern, but Protoss takes the whole map and kind of just trades inefficiently into you, and the Terran dies. The same rule applies in this situation, where you're kind of like, well, is it worth that many Banes and Hydras and Lings to kill a command center? Well, yeah, if it's the only command center you have, because I'm slowing you down so much that your whole game might grind to a halt. Now, there is no longer the option to do a Nidus unless, well, we'll see it coming if he is, but he can't really do a Nidus in the main. So the burden for the Terran is to cover 2 locations that are not particularly far from each other. By the way, the creep spread's continuing to be just perfect.
And I think the game plan for Shin on this high worker count, he's at 96 drones right now, is exactly what you said. You don't care about cost efficiency, you care about taking out expansions. If Shin can keep pushing into the 5th base of Maru and preventing him from establishing it for a long period of time, I think that is a win condition. He doesn't need to actually break the main base, the natural expansion, the 3rd or the 4th. As long as he can stunt the growth of Maru, eventually Maru will run out of minerals. But Maru, he's the king of these late games.
Oh, wait, how did those get there?
There's some vision for Shin. Maybe it was a changeling, I'm not sure. In any case,
I don't know.
2 Nidus networks in the main base loaded with a ton of Lings.
Oh, he can unload.
After the ghosts, I mean, there's just so many of them.
Yeah, he just says, you know what, the ghosts are here, so I'm going to come into this location now. He's going to detonate on this. Oh!
Wow. 13 more SCVs falling, another planetary taken out. Maru.
Almost. Now, all he has to do now is hit the other one. You just keep poking these out.
Look at the defensive setup, though. It's a maze of command centers with Liberators and Siege Tanks every which way.
I guess he's just, yeah, there's an endless stream of changelings coming up here, and one got through. He's going to have to try to take a fight over here. By the way, there's a command center that's going to try to land at the top right and see that that's taken. Literally every spot on the map is taken here. Now, Terran can win this game, but it's going to have to be a game that just doesn't end. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Another Nidus. I think he actually has like 4 Nidus networks or something. He might make more in the main here, too. He's going to come in again.
Able to take out some...
Dude, he's taking out the tanks. That's the most important part.
Got some significant numbers of tanks and Liberators right now. Maru he does still have a bank to replenish, but anything that Shin can do to continue to whittle down these numbers, especially with a lack of a planetary here, just the Lings can clean this up, and that's a lot of fresh mules, Tasteless.
It's a lot of SCVs going down here. He could actually even go further up if he wanted to. So the orbital can be picked up, unless it's game 1.
Another Nidus in the main base. Does
Yeah.
Maru see this one? We only need 1 Nidus to pop, and Maru doesn't see it. Okay, ghosts are coming back. Maru does know. If one of these pops and Maru doesn't know, it could just be game over.
Yeah, this is the greatest late game I've ever seen Shin play, by the way.
Shin is just
This
on
is
fire.
his magnus opus of his late game ZVT.
I mean, just look at the creep spread. Look at the expansions across the map. Shin is everywhere right now.
I mean, are you kidding me? Maru's going to come down here. Now, again, there's so many bases you can lose right now. He's going to hit the once again, another key base. By the way, Hydra's taking up command centers is pretty big here, too. Now, this is a win. This is a W for Maru. But, winning the battle is not the same thing as winning the war. All right, the Queens are just going to go down. Kind of a little bit of a sloppy cleanup here from Shin. Shin is going to attack into 9 o'clock again. And every time this happens, SCVs are being killed in extremely high numbers. We're now down to 49 workers. Getting these tanks is massive. The tanks are probably the most important thing that Terran has right now to defend, and Shin's surrounding that too. Shin is close to doing this. He has to keep the Terran impressed. He's going to come through on this side.
Yeah, more siege tanks getting taken out right now. Maru's trying to establish an expansion here at the top right. I feel like Shin cannot allow this expansion to get set up. You have to take this down. If Maru takes 6 bases and is able to defend them, I feel like the cost efficiency of Maru is going to be too impactful.
Yeah, the thing is, Maru's not allowed to take more bases as far as Shin is concerned. Shin can lose a base here or there, but you've got to be really on top of this. Maru is starting to accumulate quite a bit of income, although Shin does have more. Nidus network going to come here again. He's going to try to go into the main. I don't know what's over here. Occasionally, I think some of these. Well, never mind. He's going to come in here again.
Ling's looking for this round right now on top of those ghosts. Cannot find it, but they do get the siege tanks, and this should allow SHIN to take out the expansion.
You can see the splitting is just so good. The CC is going to go down. Overall, a victory here for SHIN.
And the main thing to watch right now, more Nidus in the main base.
Dude.
Okay.
One Marauder, 2 Marauders. The tank's going to come. The Marauders can kill this pretty fast, so I think this is not going to work here.
If he unloads some Lings, it could be trouble, but you're still low on HP.
Okay.
Again, the Nidus, it's not the most important thing. It's kind of like SHIN is just constantly skill checking Maru, and if Maru fails one of these checks, he loses the game.
Well, it's like a big balancing act, and if Maru falls once, the game ends.
Yes.
And so Maru is every, he's like on the edge of a cliff, and he's almost pushed off over and over, but he kind of stabilizes and keeps fighting.
Maru needs another base soon, though. The expansions that he has, they're going to start mining out very soon. SHIN looking for this round once more on the Ghost with the Lings. Able to get, I think, a few of them.
Yeah, I mean, he gets the blinding clouds in here. He's going to go all the way back to those tanks.
Maybe only one Ghost falling in total.
Another Nidus. Here we go again.
And the main base of the Natural. This has got to be so exhausting.
One thing, Maru needs to get turrets to stop this slow drip of Overseers coming through here and doing this. So I guess he's going to have like a permanent siege tank here to basically try to cover his main. Oh, dude.
Lings are here. 2 more Nidus getting set up. You have to respect the double Nidus.
Yeah, this is really scary.
There's a Nidus network at most of the bases for SHIN too on the front line, so he can send units into the main base of Naru.
Subway system of Nidus networks here.
Oh, it's another opening here for SHIN.
I think he's going to win this game.
He's taking out the siege tanks. This planetary, I think there's enough DPS with it. Yeah, the Banelings, they take it out. Maru's going to re-expand with another command center, but the bank for Maru is constantly trending down.
Yeah, he's getting much lower. Mineral patches are disappearing. This base that we just saw the CC land in is the most important base because that's the cash cow of the base. Now, this one up here at the top right is important if he ever gets to mine from it.
I feel like with an orbital there, Maru's just trying to get a little bit of minerals out of that expansion.
Yeah, what's happening here is we're getting Hydras and even Corruptors now because he wants to just kill these orbitals as they pick up. Maru's going to come out here. He's going to be able to take this base out.
Oh, no target fire, though.
Yeah.
I think he could have. In such a chaotic game, it's hard to stay on top of absolutely everything because SHIN is attacking once more in the 9 o'clock position.
He's spreading these lurkers out here. And, Maru does not have a ton. Because for Maru to try to advance on the map and do damage, he has to really actually push out. And that makes him kind of weaker. There's sort of this yin and yang on the map of what he can and can't cover. All these tanks go down, which is massive.
Maru's out of money.
Yeah.
Maru cannot afford to remax anymore. What you see is basically what you get. He's trickling out bio units slowly.
State, how many times has SHIN lost to Maru?
33 series in a row.
33 series in a row. So this is history in the making.
SHIN trying to prove that nobody in the world can beat him 34 times in a row. He is so close.
A decade in the making of him finally overcoming this hurdle. The Banelings are going to be so high in number, I don't think there's any way you can micro your way out of this. It's been a never-ending set of Niduses coming through. This is like truly a Zerg victory here, as he's just swarming around the map. Now, Maru is getting an income, and SHIN has to do this next attack or two perfectly.
SHIN has no idea this expansion is set up on the top side. It's been mining with mules for quite a long time. It's a lifeline here for Maru. SHIN simply does not know.
Well, he needs to get up there.
Yeah, it's essential. I mean, if Maru takes an additional base, it's going to be too much. I mean, that is how Maru stays in this game, and the cost efficiency for Maru has been through the roof. SHIN going to try attacking in once more. He certainly saw the expansion this time. Can he do it? I mean, the Ghosts are finding very good snipes right now onto the Ultralisks.
The Ultras are coming around. I mean, Terran's going to win this fight. And, dude, he's just not going to this base up here. Ultras are going to chase this back once again.
I mean, SHIN has to have seen the base at some point.
I mean, he has to just know. If you don't see anything there, Terran has it.
Okay, the Lings are going to get here. So many minerals have been mined from this base.
This game would have been over had that base been denied. And now Terran has it. And I'll tell you what, Maru is hanging on by a thread, and there's so much more to mine from here. This base is very far out from Maru, but if Maru has this base, he's got a shot. Maru is not maxed out.
I mean, SHIN is on the precipice right now. He is so close to securing a victory, but you see these mules dropping here. Not only is this additional income on this base, but also it allows all of the minerals of the other bases, especially the center base for Maru, to last a little bit longer. That saturation is crucial. right now for Terran because Maru's income, you can see at the bottom of the screen, it is very low. He cannot afford a remax. He has very little bank. But Shin is also out of gas. He can only rebuild Lings after this. And the standing army of Maru, it's still very strong. Shin gonna be attacking it again. All the infestors, they all get sniped.
He's going to try to come through, and it looks like Maru might be able to hold this position. The tanks are going to fall. The Lings are coming up and taking the workers out. The Ghost in the back cannot be contested. Ultras all through here doing damage, but Terran keeps his spot. 12 SCVs go down as the Mules land again.
Shin completely out of gas. He's building 1 Ultra and 6 more Hydralisks. Besides that, it's just Zerglings. And Shin, Maru still has a very strong base of army. He still has 11 ghosts. There are 5 siege tanks.
He's losing Ultralisks. He does not have gases at a lot of these bases, by the way.
I feel like some of them need to get saturated soon.
Yeah, he needs to maybe like park what he's doing and go back and reorganize his economy because, oh my God. Okay, now hold on a second. Terran is extremely low on supply, by the way. You could probably win this by kind of breaking the Terran's position. And infrastructure
Power doesn't know. At the minimap, he's still rallying to the front line, but there's no units in the Nidus just yet. I think Shin wasn't expecting these to actually get up, but now they are here. Shin unloading into the main base.
This base is still being milked for every resource that it's got. Terran's going to try to come up here and fight. There's not a lot for Terran. I mean, Terran is almost, I think, going to give this up.
There's another Nidus popping in the main base.
The tank is going to go down on the high ground. There's Lings hitting everywhere.
I mean, this is basically all of the production here for Maru. I feel like he cannot afford to let this position fall.
The reality is, it doesn't matter what income you have if you can't spend it on an army to make. So now Maru's main base is going to get hollowed out. And it's all going to be whatever Maru has left in this game. He could try to remake barracks back over at that top center base. The Ghosts are coming back. This should leave an opening here for Shin to come up here and hit that top right base. Yes, he is. He's going to hit there now.
Yeah, a couple of siege tanks and some bio going to try and hold things on. Shin, he is so close right now. This command center going to fall. The SCVs, they're evacuating from the 1 o'clock expansion. The main base of Maru is completely void. And a huge funnel connects on the Ghosts. There aren't units there. Turn it into damage. Maru kiting back.
Maru, he's got like 9 Ghosts and a prayer right now. And I think this game is now over. I mean,
I think he's done it.
I think there's no way to recover from this. I mean, he can't really make stuff right now. The only thing he really has is a lot of depots. He's going to be landing a lot of this infrastructure. The Ghosts are still being healed. They're still able to roam the map. The base at the top right's gone. Shin is remaking. You can see Shin, he's so close to closing this out. He does not want to overextend. He's trying to play a very methodical, by the way, exhausting game. If he wins here, he will go up to face off against Hero in a best-of-7 finals. So there are still the few mineral patches here, but they're disappearing before our very eyes.
Only 3 mineral patches left at the center base for Maru. Only 1 at the 9 o'clock expansion.
And Shin is going to take that top right base. You need to make it even harder for Terran to try to go there. Terran would have to kill a hatchery off to take that. And by the way, Shin has, I believe, a decent amount of resources on the map to work with, if I'm not incorrect.
Yeah, the mineral income has been huge for Shin.
Yeah. I mean, just making Lings, Lings are not great at fighting, but if there's not much around, they can always do damage.
In this number, I think it's going to be fine here for Shin.
By the way, the Niduses are still up in the main.
Yeah.
So there's many different angles to attack from here. And I think Shin doesn't have to do a ton. Just go for the easy positions.
Yeah, Shin wants this so bad. I think that he knows that if he were to try and push in right now, it's very likely he would win the game. But Shin has come so close to defeating Maru so many times. He does not want to let this chance slip away. So he's doing the safe thing. He's playing a slow, methodical game. He's going to try and come in here. Maru spots the Infestor. But I love Shin just sectioning off a couple of Lings. He's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go for the slow play. We're going to pick off the infrastructure. We're going to take out depots, barracks, factories. Constantly tax Maru. Because right now, Shin has an income. Maru doesn't. Maru's getting 100 minerals a minute.
Yeah, and we're about to see everything disappear. The rest of the Lings and Mains are going to come in here. Is this the final killing blow? Shin has overcome his history of never defeating Maru in a series. I keep laying this one up, but then he runs back out. You see what I'm trying to do, guys.
It's 11 Ghosts. It's really hard to break into this position. But again, there's no income here for Maru.
Can't land this. No money. No job for the SCVs. The Ghosts are going to take this out.
Maru's at 72 supply to the 184 of SHIN right now, and SHIN just knows that Maru cannot defend 2 positions at once. Maru's army composition, it's just basically a dozen goes. That's it. GG is called. SHIN has finally done it.
That was a real treat to cast. I cannot believe how good that series was. SHIN did it. He did the impossible. It was an emotional journey. It was an arduous journey, a difficult one. He finally did it. He overcame his own past. But he's not done yet. He's just now in the finals. He has to go up against Hero. He's got to go into an even longer series. But for now, this is his moment.
I mean, I got to tell you, Tasteless, a victory like that here for SHIN, a decade plus in the making versus the greatest Terran player of all time. I guarantee you this feels just as good as winning a GSL Finals. Now, he wants to win, but what a moment here for SHIN. I mean, savor this. It was a long time coming. He has finally done it.
Yeah, SHIN has won in one of the best of 5s I think you could ever ask for with these two. And I mean, it's kind of crazy. Maru going down in the round of 4. And SHIN, by the way, I mean, we're talking about some of the best endgame ZVT I've ever seen. I mean, he was everywhere. You know, Nidus is popping up over and over in the main, hitting in different angles, mixing up the unit composition so that Terran had to keep rotating into different types of units to fight that. Just incredible.
The last 2 wins for SHIN in that series were both in long, drawn-out macro games. He was able to beat Maru in Maru's own game, the end game. And Maru, in that final match, he tried to do what he does best, which is play the exhaust play. He was trying to go into Ghost Mech, trying to secure just enough bases to stay alive and win with sheer cost efficiency. SHIN was just able to finally whittle him down, and he is going to be advancing on into the finals of this season of GSL, Hero versus SHIN.
Yeah, I mean, this is a crazy finals. It's not one that I thought we were going to have. And man, who knows? Maybe SHIN wins here. He's playing so well. But I will say this, he's going to be exhausted.
Yeah,
he is going to be needing to channel in whatever reserves he's got of energy, because that was just an insane series he played.
Yeah, and I guarantee not just physically exhausted, but emotionally. I mean, what a hurdle to finally get past to beat Maru. And on the biggest stage of all, the offline finals here for GSL, I'm so happy for SHIN. That must feel so good.
It's really cool to see. I mean, I've been casting this guy forever, and I'm so used to seeing Maru beat him. We're going to go to a break, guys. When we come back, the finals. Stay tuned.
Incoming transmission.